yourself, what is that beautiful house? And you may ask yourself, where does that highway go to? You may tell yourself, am I right? Am I wrong? And you may say to yourself, my God! What a
real workout, lots of fun, great cast. Audiences seem to be having a good time, and it's really kind of a blast. Really.
How long did it take you to memorize those lines?
It took, well, I found out in February I had the role, so it took me, I started looking at lines in March, and it took me until about beginning of June to be totally off book, as we call it, when you know everything you're supposed to do, not just lines, but also where you're supposed to go on stage, when you're supposed to exit and enter. So it took me until about right before we went into Tech Week that I had it all down pat, so it took a long time.
Yeah. How does it work with you having a double on this?
Well, it's interesting because me and Robbie, he plays the other Antipholus, we've been in a lot of shows together, but in this show, it's different because we're actually like never on stage at the same time, and that's a really strange thing.
Yeah.
To just, and then at the end, have that moment of like, oh my, there's someone who looks just like me, and kind of play with that. So it's weird having someone else who looks like you in the play and then not actually see them until...
Yeah. So. The language, when you were switching from Old English Shakespearean language to modern language, how does that work with you?
Well, that's one of the cool things about Shakespeare is that in a lot of ways the language that he wrote in is very similar, more similar to like modern English as we know it now, as opposed to European dialects that a lot of people might automatically think that Shakespeare should be done in, like English dialects or British. But I guess one of the cool things with Shakespeare is that we can use a lot of his lines and give them a more modern reading, and it made sense. That's one of the coolest things about it, is that it was written so long ago, but it's still relevant to say now in a lot of ways. So many words and names have come from his plays,
his style,
his sonnets.
Worked outdoors before?
Yes, I've done. This is my I don't know how many. This is like my 4th or 5th time doing an outdoor show with CSC.
Okay. In this context, how does it work as opposed to the other contexts that you worked in before?
Oh, it's a total different scenario because you're working with weather, and it's kind of a 50% chance every show. It's either gonna rain or it's not. And even last night, we got to the last page of script and we had to call the show because they said there's a storm on the way. So anything can happen. We think we're almost gonna get through it, then all of a sudden they ring the bell and say, sorry, show's over, gotta get you off the hill. So it's different because you don't have the same certainty you have in a theater, like a real theater building, because you're not worried about the ceiling raining on you, but now it's like you're at the mercy of the weather and hoping that it holds out. And even on days when it's 100% chance of thunderstorms, we'll have a perfectly sunny day. You really have no idea what to expect.
You have a lot of moves in your feet, and where did you get those ideas from?
Well, a lot of that's just having the luxury of playing in rehearsal. Having rehearsal time, getting to know your lines sooner than later gives you more time to play with ideas that aren't necessarily scripted.
Yeah.
And you get to try out what works. Every night, you get to try different things. Sometimes the audience doesn't respond at all. Other nights, it's an uproar.
Right.
So the whole idea is they just got to keep playing with ideas and keeping it fresh each night, because it's got to be like the first and last time you've done the show every night.
You almost look like Hugh Grant. Anybody told you that?
I've never heard that one. That's new. I've gotten Elton John, Ron Weasley, all kinds of
others, right?
other redheads and stuff. Okay. So that's a new one. And Hugh Grant, he's not even. The wig. I forget I have this.
Exactly.
That's what it is. That charmingly befuddled Hugh Grant.